Really do. I mean, and that's, that's saying something, but Kevin is a entirely different breed. I mean, 6'11", with guard skills, unlimited three-point range, passing, shot blocking at the rim. It's just stunning. And watching him this year was really, really gratifying to see.
Joined by NBA analyst Slick Rick Bucher-Basell.
Yeah.
Is Kevin Durant more gifted than Michael Jordan?
Yes, he is. And this shouldn't be an argument that makes people giggle like Acho, but it will. And I don't want to go too deep into the water, at least until y'all force me to. I want to keep this simple. Let's stay in the shallow end, on the shelf, as they say, with these new pools. You see about 6 inches deep for the little kids like I have. Here's one reason why I know Kevin Durant is more gifted than Michael Jordan. Because we've never seen another Kevin Durant. But we have seen a facsimile carbon copy of Michael Jordan 2.0. There's a long list of guys we try to compare him to, but there was one that actually stuck out and almost made it. Kobe Bryant, rest in peace. Let that settle. Here's another reason why I know that Kevin Durant is more gifted than Michael Jordan. Because there has never been the Durant rules. There have never, ever stated there are Durant rules. Let me tell you what the Jordan rules are. People always say, well, beat him up when he's in the air, beat him up when he's going to the rim. Y'all don't understand from a defender's position and mindset what that really is saying. That's saying, one, we know where he's going to go or where he has to go. So that means Jordan's coming into the paint. Jordan's going to the hoop. Jordan's going to the rim. So we're going to beat him up. But it also suggests that Jordan doesn't want to stay outside. He doesn't want to be that pure shooter. Yeah, he got a J. Yeah, he worked on it. Yeah, he continued to become more efficient with his jump shot. But that ain't his sweet spot. Now, let's juxtapose that to Kevin Durant. There are no Durant rules. You know why? No matter where you put his skinny 6'11" self, he is in his sweet spot. Think about it. People saw at the draft and said he can't even bench press himself in his weight. He can't even do push-ups. Put Kevin Durant on the block and see what happens to you. One, you can't even block his shot. But two, if you have a PJ Tucker or someone who can push him out of the paint, all you're doing is pushing him out to a sweeter spot. So I've seen it before. Kevin Durant is not ever been replicated and will never be duplicated. I shouldn't say never because my son is 5 years old, and if he don't put on football weight, he might have a chance. But outside of that, we've seen versions of Jordan. We have never and probably never will see another Durant.
Well, first, Sel, I like your argument. A few fallacies in there, but I will get to them later. No, Kevin Durant does not have a chance of being compared as a sense of physical gifts to Michael Jordan. Kevin Durant and Michael Jordan, when it comes to being gifted, should not be mentioned in the same sentence. Here is why. If Steve Kerr would have said, as physically gifted, I would have said, bet. I can concede to that. But when you talk about gifts, it's not just the physical. You also have to talk about the mental. We've recently been confronted in society with realizing our mind should be taken just as seriously as our bodies across multiple fields, both positively and negatively. So coming to that recent realization, we should also come to the realization when talking about an athlete being gifted, you can't just talk about them being physically gifted when you use the word gifted unless you specify. Michael Jordan was a 10-time scoring champ. Kevin Durant, a 4-time scoring champ. Michael Jordan was a 9-time all-defensive team. Kevin Durant, no times all-defensive teams. Michael Jordan, 5 times regular season NBA MVP. Kevin Durant, 1-time NBA regular season MVP. I just brought up all statistics that are relatively individual statistics. Defensive players, regular season MVPs, and scoring champs. You don't need a bunch of help and a bunch of teammates to accomplish that. So if Kevin Durant were as gifted physically and mentally as Michael Jordan, Kevin Durant would have as much to show individually as Michael Jordan. And Kevin Durant does not have nearly as much to show individually as Michael Jordan. I'm not talking about the collection. I'm not talking about finals MVPs because you need a Scott Paxson, you need a Steve Kerr, you need a Steph Curry, you need a Klay Thompson. I'm simply talking about individual accolades, and his gifts would match his individual accomplishments.
So I'm going to try to navigate my way through these two takes because I like both of them, but I want to add something in addition. Acho, I am on your side of the equation. From a physical standpoint, yes, absolutely. We would say Kevin Durant is more gifted. If you're 6'10", 6'11", 240 pounds, you have his speed and agility compared to somebody who is 6'6" and 200 pounds, which is what Michael Jordan was listed as, then of course you're going to have in a game, you're going to have an advantage at the game of basketball. But it does include the mental aspect of it. And to suggest that Kevin Durant has a physical advantage and yet has not accomplished what Michael Jordan has would suggest that he has failed. And I would never say that Kevin Durant has failed or underachieved as a basketball player. There's a third element here. Marcellus, you mentioned the physical. Acho, you mentioned the mental. But there's also environment, which I consider as part of the gift. And the only way I could bring up a full screen in this is if I brought out the philosophers, Aristotle and Plato and all of that in terms of how we become who we are. But ultimately, I look at Kevin Durant's, who he was coached by, who he played with, the systems that he's been in, how he grew up. Michael Jordan was gifted with the perfect environment to become who he is, the opportunity to go to North Carolina, to play at a time in the game in which he had to reinvent himself and how he played. Marcellus, the big pushback I have for you is to suggest that Michael Jordan went to the Cup because he had no other option. His mid-range was as good as anybody's in the game, and the three-point shot was not part of the game as it is today. The fundamentals of Michael Jordan and the way he developed himself, not just physically, but in terms of skill and fundamentals and the mental aspect, suggests that he was ready to answer and address any challenge that he faced. The decisions that Kevin Durant has made that have held him back is not how he plays. It's where he plays and who he plays with and what he's ultimately searching for. And that, to me, is a byproduct of environment. And that's where Kevin Durant has not been as gifted as Michael Jordan.
Look, I don't want to get so competitive up here because I am competitive that I'm going to push back and do it with some animus. Let me just say this, that the comparison right here, I don't want to steal from Michael Jordan to prop up Kevin Durant. And as we all know, comparison is the thief of joy. However, Michael Jordan was not the shooter Kevin Durant was or is. We just know that for a fact. Matter of fact, Michael Jordan started off as a better shooter rookie year, earlier years, before even championship years, and started to decline slowly but steadily, watch the numbers, when he started to win those chips. In part where we saw in The Last Dance, where Phil Jackson was saying, you got to buy in more to the team, a little less of you and a little more of them. But y'all go figure that out as you dive into the numbers like I did. Here's another thing. Let me just start throwing some little ninja stars.
Good luck.
Playing against better competition, stiffer competition right now. I know I'm going to hear some pushback because they were tougher back then, but they weren't more gifted. So that's advantage Kevin Durant. Not a lot of Craig Elos and Brian Russells running around right now. Those guys are 8th, 9th men on the bench, maybe if that. So let's just go there. You know who Kevin Durant is? Let's be real. He's Kyrie Irving handles Steph's jumpers stretched out. He's a stretched out 6'11" Steph Curry that plays defense. The hell are we talking about? This dude is such a rarity. I'm going to give it to you like this in example, personalized form. I went to a Lakers pregame. Yeah, don't ask me why, because they gave me free tickets. That's why, damn it. All right, so I'm in there pregame Lakers. Acho knows how our pregame looks in the NFL locker room. Our locker room pregame is a little different. It's a little more frantic, a little crazier, violent, everything. Go to NBA one, these dudes are a little more relaxed, chilling. But they still have the same whiteboard we have, Acho. On their whiteboard, they have percentages and sour spots, as they call them, where you need to push the offensive play.